Well, hello everyone. This is Kelly Covert, and I am here with Symphoria Executive Director Pam Murchison to have another At Home with Symphoria Q&A. How are you today, Pam?
I'm great. Any Symphoria day is a great day, so I'm delighted. And some of my favorite things to listen to right now are you saying, "Well, hello there, welcome to At Home with Symphoria." So I'm glad to get to be part of it today.
Excellent. And we were talking before we came started going live about how you're in the office now. I'm still at home, but we like to think of anywhere you are with Symphoria should feel like home. So
Absolutely.
we're still at home. Anyway, today we're coming to you to answer questions about our upcoming season. We have had questions coming left and right. Still, we're working things out, but we have a much clearer vision and view of what things are going to look like for the first few months of our season. So we wanted to come here today with you and share those. So as you're watching, I have a whole list of questions that people have asked, but if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments and I will promise that we will get to them. Pam and I are in no rush today.
Not at all.
So let's start with this, Pam. Why don't you explain to everyone what we can expect for September, October, and November as far as concerts go?
Sure. So we have changed the theme of our season to expect the unexpected. But one thing will remain true, that we promise to offer you the absolute best Symphoria experience that we can. And we know that that's going to kind of evolve throughout the season based on health news. So we've been working very closely with the county health department, with the regional reopening control room, and because the numbers for large gatherings, indoor gatherings, some of the guidance on concerts really hasn't changed for good reason. All of the September, October, and November concerts are going to be live streamed with no in-person audience from Inspiration Hall. And if you attended our summer solstice, you'll recognize the stage. And I cannot say enough how indebted we are to the Fang family, to Francis and Betty, to Mike, who's on our board, to their son Dan, who gave us a tour about some youth orchestra planning, for making the season possible. Because Inspiration Hall is their wonderful venue. If you've attended any of our kids' concert, you've been there, and so we're already equipped to live stream so that we can deliver a really great experience. And then we're just going to monitor it as we go. Our first priority is to keep the musicians and patrons safe, and the best guidance we have right now is that how we can do that is to have no in-person audience to start.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of questions about no in-person audience. Obviously, that means there will be no audience there. Will the orchestra be performing live for people to watch on live stream?
Yeah, the downbeat's still going to happen at 7:30. You'll be at home on your couch, best seats in the house. Everyone will have a front row seat, really. And the orchestra will be on stage. Eduardo will give the tuning note at 7:32, and we'll be off. We really want to preserve the shared experience, even though we can't be physically together. We can still know that our friends that we normally say hello, they sit in the row in front of us, they're still watching the concert at the same time we are.
100%. And so do we have any idea of when in-person audiences will come back and how that might look?
Sure. I think it's going to be really hard to tell until we see what happens with with schools reopening, with the university starting classes. This is just me, my personal hunch. I think we're going to see a lot. We're going to learn a lot based on what the numbers are like in the community at that time. We're just going to have to wait and see. If I knew right now, I would tell you, and we just don't. A lot of it is going to depend too on what the news is on vaccinations, and as we continue to learn more about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So we're staying up to date on information. Again, making decisions, with the health department reviewing our plans, and so that we're doing the best things that we can. Because we don't expect that it's going to be like a switch and we're going to be back to a sold out 2,000 person concert in the On Center overnight. The individuals who have purchased subscriptions for assigned seats in the on center. When we get to a point and we know what sort of a hybrid option looks like, where we have some in-person audience and some people that we can't accommodate with a seat, it will be our subscribers with assigned seating that we accommodate first, and we'll just kind of move forward from there. We are doing things in incremental steps, so that we make sure that we can keep you safe. This is a learning curve for all of us. So we want to make sure that we are doing things that are in our capacity to execute in excellent fashion.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So speaking of keeping people safe, I know that we have had a lot of questions from our patrons of how we're going to keep our musicians safe, because we will have a full orchestra on stage. What are some of the things that we're doing to keep our musicians safe?
Sure. So while we have full orchestra in place, we're looking at things that are basically a Beethoven-sized orchestra. It is an anniversary year for one of our favorite composers. And those Beethoven orchestras tend to be slightly smaller than, say, a Mahler symphony, or even a piece by Rachmaninoff, who we also love. Some of the turn of the century Russian composers, French composers. So that means that we will have maybe 40 musicians on stage, as opposed to maybe 60, like we would have for a larger Mahler symphony. And so that gives us more space to have the musicians socially distanced. We also are in the process of devising screens that are L-shaped, so that musicians will basically be protected by a screen in terms of any sort of aerosolization spread. Also, we're in the purchase of purchasing some air purifiers to help keep air circulation moving in the large space that is Inspiration Hall. And we've had some really good news about like cold air return and the way that the air moves through the HVA system at Inspiration Hall, that it seems like it's actually in a pretty good situation, so that the air will be moving in a way that that keeps everything flowing and keeps the musicians safe. The cold air return is above the orchestra, so it'll go like that.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And I know we have some musicians here watching with us today, and I know that we are all so excited and cannot wait.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to be on stage playing. So a big part of our concerts, particularly our Masterworks concerts, are our guest artists. And they're not always, or actually probably more rarely, from this area. So what happens when a guest artist is traveling from a hotspot state or something like that?
Sure. And I will say that this, the very particulars of this scenario, we're still working out. For some of our guest artists that are, like you said, living on the West Coast for the fall. But we really plan to have all of the guest artists be a part of the scheduled performances. It may mean that for that portion of the concert, they've pre-recorded a favorite sonata or a piece that fits into the program from home, and maybe that part of the concert will be pre-recorded and dropped in. But what we also plan to do, if we have to have that conversation with anybody, is then immediately get them booked to come with us next season. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell exactly what it's going to look like day to day. I think the news is that we have a fighting chance of being without travel restriction September 2021. And so that's our plan, to have them involved in the concert whatever way they can, even if it is the ultimate social distancing, as in they're not in the state, and then to get them on the books to come back and play with us live in 21-22.
Mm-hmm. And, it's sort of this beautiful thing that we have this technology that we can actually do this, because, these were conversations that nobody was having a year ago.
Well, and I came across a quote from the executive director of the BBC Proms Festival that they do in London at the end of the summer, and they're making they're playing archival things. They hope to have in-person audience for the last 2 weeks of the festival. It really depends on how the health news goes. And he said in the article, it's not the proms that any of us has come to expect, but it's the proms that we need right now. Mm-hmm. And every time I think about that, I actually kind of get some goosebumps, because yeah, this is not the scenario we had planned in February when we announced a season we were really super excited about. But we are really excited that we can provide the community with the orchestra that they need right now. And I think even if we were able to flip a switch and have people cramming into the on center, there are a lot of people who wouldn't be comfortable with that. It wouldn't feel safe or feel right. And so having the live stream option available helps us take care of all of our patrons, because we're here for the community and in the best way we can, even if it's not the Symphoria we've come to expect. It's the Symphoria that we need.
Right.
Like,
yes.
Quote my colleague.
I love that quote too.
Yeah.
So in the chance that Onondaga County has to go into another shutdown or limited group gatherings, it seems like that might affect orchestra size. And we have guaranteed to have a concert on every single date. So how will that work? What does that look like?
Sure. So we have contingency plans in place so that we right now are planning on performing our national anthem, a piece by Jesse Montgomery, who's a young composer, entitled Banner, the Beethoven Piano Concerto, or another selection by John Nakamatsu, depending on how the news continues to evolve this week, and then Beethoven 7. If we can't do that, then we will be able to, there's a chamber orchestra version of Jesse Montgomery's piece for maybe 10 musicians. And then John would certainly provide a solo sonata that we would insert into the program. And then we would look at performing the Beethoven Septet, which is just for 7 players. So that gives us more than adequate space, all the way across the 40 by 40 foot stage at Inspiration Hall to have musicians socially distanced, feeling safe, being safe, and we're working on those plans for all of the concerts this fall, so that we can pivot on a dime.
And if something like that were to happen, when would our audience know about the program changes?
As soon as we can communicate it to you. I will admit, we don't know exactly when we're going to be making those changes, if we're going to need to make them. The numbers in New York continue to look very good. So we're feeling more and more confident about our plans for Masterworks 1, Pops 1, and Masterworks 2 and Spark, and, those fall concerts. But we will let you know as soon. So, make sure you're signed up for the e-blasts. Make sure you're checking in on the website, and certainly social media, Facebook and Instagram. And you can always call the box office, and we can let you know up-to-date information. So even if you were really excited to hear your favorite symphony and something happens and we can't play it this time around, we promise that we have something really great for you, and that we're going to figure out how to incorporate pieces, because we've programmed them because we love them too. We want to play them. We want to play them for you. We want to hear them. So anything that we maybe can't do on a particular date this year, that we're going to find a future date to kind of work things in. It's great music.
It's like a 2-for-1, really. Like, these are the deals of the century right now. You're going to get 2 concerts that are amazing. Eventually, all in all. All right. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the concerts themselves, because there's a lot of questions about, now that we know that there won't be in-person audiences for the first several concerts, about how we watch them. So sure. I want to go to the first concert and I want to watch from home. How do I watch the live stream?
Sure. The week leading up, all ticket buyers will receive a private link to watch the concert on Vimeo. So what you can do in the meantime is you can head over to Vimeo. You can create an account. You can kind of look at some of their FAQs about how to stream from your computer onto your smart TV. How does it work on your phone and your iPad? If you want to hook your sound up to your stereo, because we want you to have the best experience you can from home. And we realize that phones are great, but maybe it's not listening to it through your smartphone. And then to kind of keep a lookout on our pages as well, because we are working on refining some documents that we had already put out for summer solstice, refining them based on what we learned, so that you can start to get your home concert venue set up for those fall concerts. Mm-hmm. So Vimeo, and then just, starting to ask your like super techie son about hooking your laptop up with an HDMI cable to your smart TV, just to kind of start thinking about those things. And we're going to provide that information as we get closer to opening night.
Mm-hmm. And I actually have some plans to make maybe some how-to videos, and we'll be posting them on Facebook and also putting them in our emails. So you will know how to do it, we promise. And it won't be very hard.
No.
So say I'm at home and I'm with my husband, or I have a friend over and we want to watch the concert together. Do I need to buy 2 tickets?
Well, we have options for live stream tickets. A ticket for an individual is $20, and then a ticket for a family is $35. So while we do ask if you have like 4 couples over, maybe you buy a couple family packs. But if it's you and your husband and your neighbor down the street, one $35 ticket will do the trick. And kids are free. The kids continue to be free.
Mm-hmm. As always. Mm-hmm. Do I have to live in Central New York to watch one of these concerts?
You do not. We have an awesome relationship with our musicians committee and with Local 78 of the American Federation of Musicians. And so all of the geographical restrictions have been lifted. So if you're traveling, we have some subscribers who go south to warmer climates in the winter. And so if you subscribe, you can watch all the concerts, even if you're in Boca, wherever you go. Or if you, for like our youth orchestra performance that we'll have on November 15th, you've got aunts and uncles and, family that live out of state, and that you wish they could always see your kid perform. Well, now they can buy a ticket and they can watch from anywhere. And I know the musicians in the orchestra, they're really excited, to buy, they make great holiday gifts, birthday gifts, but families are purchasing tickets of our musicians too, so that they'll be in the concert hall with us for the first time, and more regularly than if they just, scheduled a trip every now and then. Mm-hmm. So, and in fact, also, I was talking to somebody whose sister works at an American university in Japan, and she's looking for things for the students to do because they can't really be out and about right now. And I was like, well, how about some brunch at Beethoven? They can buy some tickets to watch Symphoria live all the way from Japan.
I love it.
Yep, all the opportunities.
Well, and what's exciting too is we're really stepping onto a global stage.
Absolutely.
Our little orchestra in CNY, which is really exciting for us, I think.
No, I've just been in Syracuse about a year. My husband and I love it here. And it's really great to be able to share all of the great things that are happening in this wonderful community everywhere. We're able to do some things that not every community can do. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to share the nice things that we have with people all across the globe, I think will absolutely help other people see what a gem Central New York is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love it. So I do think that there are some people who are feeling like they're not really sure if they want to watch a live stream concert or what it's going to be like, that maybe they even already have their subscriptions and they're sort of questioning whether it's something they want to do. What are the options for people who are unsure about watching live stream concerts?
Sure. Well, certainly, if you've already purchased your tickets, we ask that you try it out. And if you have a subscription, maybe try it out a couple of times, because you're going to get more comfortable and confident with this. We're going to get better at executing it. We've had a couple of chances to practice, and we've got a couple more chances to practice coming up before opening night. We'll tell you more about that maybe next week. But just to give it a little bit of time to build some confidence. And again, just back to that idea of it's not the Symphoria we've come to expect, but it's the Symphoria we need right now. I love getting dressed up and going to the concert hall and seeing everybody and looking in the audience and seeing everybody's face, at the end of the performance. And I love that more than I can communicate, and I'm going to miss it. And I'm really glad that we'll be able to keep music playing, and I'll be able to know that people are looking that happy and excited from their homes.
Mm-hmm. And so what are some things that people can do to really up level their Symphoria concert experience while they're at home?
Sure. So we've been doing a lot of talking and getting a lot of feedback. One thing that we thought was a really fun idea is to start even your own like Symphoria supper club. So if you've got, we know that we have people in the audience that's what they do, is they love Symphoria, and they really love that 5 or 6 Saturday nights a year they have dinner and they do an activity with their friends. So as much as you feel safe, to have another couple over for dessert and a glass of wine, before the show, and then you tune in for the pre-concert talk, you tune in for the concert. We were even kind of talking about, dimming the lights when Eduardo plays the tuning A, like happens in the hall. Maybe getting dressed up, making sure that if you always like to get a pretzel before the concert and a glass of wine at intermission, you can still do those things. You don't have to wait in line. But really just trying to think about like, okay, well, I know what I'm not getting, but what are the things that I do get? I don't have to fight with traffic. I don't have to walk through the snow. And we want you to do those things more back in the hall for sure.
Right.
But, while we have to be separated, trying to find where the opportunities are to have a different Symphoria experience, because, we're all going to be saying, hey, remember that crazy year when? Remember when I heard Beethoven 7 from home? That was so great. I'm so glad I didn't miss it that time. And so just to stay with us on that, and then to keep letting us know, like, hey, this was great. This didn't work. And let us know so we can fix it for next time. Because if there's one thing this organization knows how to do, is to put on a concert. And we've been doing it in a certain way, and now we're going to do it in a little bit of a different way. And so that means it's going to, take us some time to really get our stride on and help us do that. Mm-hmm. Help us know. I'm so proud that we're all as a community willing to take the chance and try it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
I agree. And I know that those of you who are watching are going to stick with us.
Yeah.
And be with us in spirit, if not in person.
Yeah.
So is it possible to watch the concert at a time that it's not scheduled? So for example, our Masterworks concert is September 26th at 7:30. Could I watch that on Sunday at 9 a.m.?
Not yet. We are really mostly working out how to maintain the magic of a shared experience. I remember there was a Sunday in April, like we used to pop popcorn and like turn on the Wizard of Oz, and it was like a big deal. And so we want these nights to feel like that. And then there are also some back end things, some really interesting things. John Garland is learning about mechanical rights and being permitted to make things available after the fact, that we're still working out. So, there may be a concert or two down the pike, maybe, that we're able to provide for schools to show in the classroom or something like that, but we're not there yet. And again, really, we just want people to still have that 7:30 experience of the downbeat and the tuning note.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to add that these concerts, I mean, a lot of our fellow orchestras, they're all in the same boat that we are, and everyone's sort of coming up with different solutions. And when you watch a Symphoria concert, you're watching a live performance. This is not something that was recorded a week before or a month before. It's happening in that moment. And that really changes the feeling of your experience. And that's something that's really important to us.
Well, and Kelly, as a musician, I mean, does it feel differently being on? I can't believe I'm asking you a question during this. I feel so like
what's happening?
Light on my feet. But as a musician, do you feel differently knowing that people are at home watching versus knowing that it was being recorded for some time later?
100%, because I just feel like you have the energy of someone being there with you. And when it's recorded, you think, oh, well, something might get edited or it might get tweaked a little bit. And you're really getting this full live experience where, anything could happen, and that makes it also exciting and scary. But that's what we experience in a regular concert, and we want this to be as much like our normal experience as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about our new subscription, Symphoria Unlimited? It's something I'm really excited about. And as I look at ticket prices and things like that, I think, man, that is a great deal.
Symphoria Unlimited, it is a monthly subscription like Netflix, Hulu, and any of the other streaming services, or honestly, because we think that music helps you take care of your cultural wellness and your emotional wellness. It's also like your monthly gym membership that you just kind of set it and forget it. So for individuals, $19.99 a month, under $20. And for families, $29.99 a month. You sign up with Emily and you get the ball rolling, and that means that you have access to 100% of our live stream concerts next season.
Mm-hmm.
So, in October, when we have no less than 4 concerts, it's quite a deal for a family of 4 to $30, and kids are free and 2 adults, especially when you factor in, dinner and parking and babysitters, if that's the way that you would go, but you're at home, so you don't have to worry about that. And what we're doing with Symphoria Unlimited is a buy one, give one. So, we recognize too that not everybody in Central New York has, that many people have barriers to access to what we're doing for transportation, financial. I don't know, this feels weird. I don't know how I would feel going there. With people have barriers. So we're partnering with organizations like Interfaith Works and United Way of Central New York, New Americans Forum, Greater Syracuse Hope. OSHA was on your interview a couple of weeks ago. And for families that may not already be coming to Symphoria for any number of reasons, those organizations are going to help us get Symphoria Unlimited subscriptions to them. So we, again, are using this opportunity to grow our Symphoria family. We think music is for everybody. We do our programming in a way that we hope we have something to offer every person. And so what can we be doing right now to get people to try it out or to take a chance on us? And so learning where those opportunities are as well.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm so excited about the Symphoria Unlimited. If I weren't on stage, that's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
For sure. So that wraps up the questions that I had planned. If anyone is watching, we still have quite a few people watching live. If you have questions, now is a great time to put them in the comments. And even if you're not watching live, if you want to put your questions in the comments, we're going to circle back and make sure every question gets answered. And Pam has an open door, open email, open phone policy. So you can shoot her an email or you can call her direct line, which is
315-434-5644.
And I'll put that in the comments too once we're done. So you can give her a call, you can shoot her an email and ask any question that you might have that maybe didn't get answered today. So lastly, do you have any more good news for us? I feel like this is all good news. So
I will have to limit my remarks. Today, Laura Mosby, our community engagement manager, she's actually in the next office over. Today is her first day, and we're really fortunate to have funding from the New York State Council for the Arts through the Regional Economic Development Council initiative to underwrite her salary for 2 years. And so it's another way that we're reaching out into the community. And honestly, we've had 2 virtual town halls with our Symphoria Youth Orchestra parents. We have one more coming up this Wednesday so that parents can ask questions. We're planning on doing smaller chamber groups so that we can keep the kids in smaller cohorts, socially distanced. Again, the Feng family has offered up their facility at Rock Center, which used to be the old Rockefeller Church. And so there are some preschool classrooms and there's a gym, and there are a number of spaces that we'll be able to facilitate Symphoria Youth Orchestra. So that's moving forward. We're partnering with David's Refuge on some events to help take care of their caregivers in October and November. We're moving forward in the season. The sun is out in Central New York. There are a lot of things that a lot of challenges ahead. We know that too, but a lot of things that we're really celebrating the good.
100%. Well, everyone who joined us, thank you for being here. Like I said, feel free to keep posting your questions and we will circle back around to the comments. And we are excited to see you, if you will, at our very first concert, A Grand Overture, on September 26th at 7:30. Tickets are on sale now on our website, and you can go on over or give Emily a call at the box office and get set up to join us for our first concert of the season in September.
It'll be great.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks. Take care.